is here. Welcome, 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 welcome. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you see, we got our St. Patty's Day going on right here. Oh, thank you for the love. Thank you for the love. We're waiting for Miss Melanie to be in the house. She's gonna be in a little bit. We also have Miss Tarah LeBlanc, Miss Tarah Combs LeBlanc. I want to say Tara, but we'll ask her later if it's Tara or Tara, one or two, because we love to pronounce people's names correctly. Like my name. Yours truly, Sianka. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let's just tap the live. Share it out with your people. Miss Tarah LeBlanc, if you're here in the chat, please share it out with your followers. OVC, thank you so much for having us tonight. It is Thursday night. Believe it or not, it is Thursday. So let's get this thing started. I truly appreciate y'all for being here. Let's go ahead and tap the live. Put in the chat the emoji of how you feeling today on this Thursday. Whether it's sad, good, whatever, how you feeling? Hey, Tara's in the house. She is in the house. And we're going to bring her up in a little bit. All right. I'm going to send you an invite. Just click on that to join, Miss Tara. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know we're excited for you too. We're excited you're here with us and taking the time out to speak with us tonight. You can go ahead and click that join button. I sent you an invite. If you're on your computer, it's not going to work. If you're on a laptop, it's not going to work. If you're on an iPad or if you're on an iPhone, hey Nikki, how you doing? You can use that, but yeah, if you're using a PC, it's not going to work. If you're using a laptop, it's not going to work. So you need to use, hey Jay, you need to use an iPad or your Android phone, or your laptop, or your iPad or tablet. You can do that, but you can't use it on, can't go live on the PC or laptop. So while Miss Tara's getting herself together, please tap the live. Come on, like 3 likes, guys. Come on. Let's tap it up. Share it out. This is about Kentucky. Thank you so much, Jay. Okay, you on your phone now. All right. So I'm gonna send you another. There we go. We'll see another invite. There we go. Miss Tara, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm so sorry. I join everything from my phone usually, and I was like, I am going to be professional and join from my laptop, and lo and behold, it did not work. So, best laid plans, right?
I know. Look, that's live. So just live. It just throw you anything. But
Right.
no problem at all. You're gonna be talking with Melanie in a little bit. She's coming in. I'm just filling in for her for a little bit. Do you have your background up and running?
Am I supposed to have a background up and running?
If not, you press that camera and you go to the green. You can slide over, go to the green screen, click that plus button and get your background up if you have one from us. If not, it's fine. Don't even worry about it. I love that hair.
Thank you. Actually, my mom, when I said I was running for office, she was like, does that mean that you're going to dye your hair back to a normal color? And
Look at mine. I have green. I'm representing green with, yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is people always ask me if I'm in a school, and I'm like, no, this is my basement.
I love it.
I'm just me. Pink hair. Actually, it's so funny because for my campaign colors, I'm doing this. This is my inspiration. So my business cards and my yard signs are this color.
So is it purple violet? Is it like pinkish purple?
It's magenta.
Oh, magenta, cool. Yes, I love people who express themselves in with color of their hair. You know, I really love it. I love it. It just shows like you're like, hey, you're a human, man. You're free to do the best things in life. That's why
Hair my whole life, and I felt like people would think it was weird, and so I did it this color. It was probably 3 years ago because I was like, I'm 40 now. I can do it. Like I don't have to care what other people think.
right, right.
I get so many compliments. I mean, even from like, older ladies, older gentlemen. Like, yeah, I'm getting more compliments on this. I've had almost every color on the rainbow, it seems like, and this is the one that seems like it fits.
Yeah, I tend to do mine's. Of course, said Tara doesn't like being. So it's a Tara or Tara? Tara. Okay. So Nikki says Tara doesn't like being boring. I'm the same way. I don't like being boring. I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do for May because May's Cinco de Mayo. So I don't know. I don't know what colors I'm gonna do.
Is Cinco de Mayo colors? It's green and red and yellow. Is that right?
I know it's green and red. I don't know about the yellow part. It probably is. I don't know, but I want to do something for every month because I did one. Um, January didn't really have one. I had red from December because of Christmas. February I had red again because of Valentine's Day. So I had green for St. Patrick's. So I may do a yellow orangey type thing. I might do. I don't know.
That sounds great. No, I'm the same way. I love when people expressing themselves in all the different ways because life is too short to play it safe because you think someone else might not like it.
And as long as you like it, hey, that's the best thing in the world to me. I think.
I think authenticity is such a big thing with people. They don't want to talk to someone, even just in passing that much, that's trying to be somebody else. Just be who you are.
Absolutely, because nobody else can. I used to have a shirt that says "Be yourself." Nobody else can be you. So just go ahead and be yourself.
Love that. Oh, I have some shirts. I love fun shirts too, and I've ruined so many of them. But my favorite one uh, said, "Mind your own biscuits, and life will be gravy."
I want the shirt. I want the shirt because I love biscuits and I love biscuits and sausage gravy. Oh my God, I love it. At first, because I am a disabled veteran, so when I was in the military for breakfast, I always seen like this slop. And they're like, girl, you never had no biscuits and gravy. Sausage gravy. And I was stationed here in my boot camp was in South Carolina, Fort Jackson. And I'm like, no, I never had it. It was like, girl, try it. It will change your life. And ever since then, it changed my life.
Well, thank you for your service, first of all.
You're
Um,
welcome.
yeah, and second, there's this video that I watched, I think a couple years ago, where it's British people trying American food, and it's hysterical. And one of them is biscuits and gravy, and they're all like, "This looks disgusting. What is?"
Because it does look like slop. It does. But oh my God, especially a nice fresh biscuit. I mean, it gotta be a thick biscuit. Can't be no thin. Like it gotta be the thick buttermilk biscuit, nice and hot, and then pour that. Oh my God, and a nice cup of coffee with it. Oh my God.
Yes, and so my granddad, growing up, my papa, he used to make biscuits and gravy every Sunday. That was like his thing. And I felt too intimidated to make it ever. And then I found a recipe that someone gave me, and I was like, this isn't hard.
Well,
Pour some milk and stir. That's pretty much it, right?
okay. I have to try to find it then, because not everybody can make it. Like in the South, like I know Kentucky can make it. Come on now, come on, Kentucky, come on. I'm in North Carolina right now, so and it's like in those, especially those mom and pop um stores, you know, in that restaurant, that diner, and they, oh my God, especially when that hospitality, like, hey, Darla, how you doing? You want some? Yeah, yeah.
Work at one of those places. And the Sunday shift was great because they did this breakfast that was this all you can eat breakfast. You get up to 5 eggs, toast, and gravy, and pancakes and potatoes. And it was like $10 or something.
Oh my gosh,
And when people would order 5 eggs, I was like, that is, I mean,
you
respect.
you
Like,
can't beat that.
a lot of eggs. Like, good for you. Like,
Can't beat that. You cannot. Tony said, Paul Revere saved us from that mess. Yes, I totally love it. But Tara, thank you so much for coming. And I'm going to start off real quick to let you know what OVC is about. And as you can see, we're very chill, laid back, and we love doing these virtual town halls, and we love talking to you because we are everyday people who love what we do. Um, and we just came together and just started this, you know, this journey, and we're really thankful for OVC to be a part of it. So our vote counts as a nonpartisan coalition of citizens from diverse states and backgrounds, united by a shared commitment to empowering voters and promoting candidates who stand for integrity, inclusion, and accountability in the upcoming elections that is coming up. Oh, that's your, oh, Tessa's, oh, that is so sweet. Hi, Tessa.
she's
So
15.
how old is Tessa?
15. She's 15, and I told her that I was going to be on, and she was like, I might come on and watch you, but I'm not going to say anything. So thank you for saying hi.
That is, I'm the same way when because I do lives too. I do political lives, and my daughter, who is I want to say 19, but she's 20. My God. And she's like, she comes in and I see her. And I'm like, you're not going to say hi. I text her, I'm like, you're not going to say hi to me. And she go in, she's like, hi, mom. I'm like, hi, baby. Yes. So that's a yes. Good job. Support your mom. Be out there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we need people like you because you are the future, believe it or not. Believe it or not. Congratulations on that part. So, Miss Tara, I'm gonna give you an icebreaker here. Um,
I love an icebreaker.
so you say you're around 40, right?
I'm 43.
Okay, 43. Okay, so I'm 45, so you can relate, you know, in the 80s. Okay. So you remember the Saturday tunes, the Saturday cartoons? What was your favorite cartoon back in the day that you could relate to and say, I want to be like this person? And does that still stand today? If not, who is your favorite character?
So, Captain Planet. That's what I always, right? You know, that
I
Captain,
love it.
right?
Oh
All the power. And my favorite was the guy that had, it's evading me his name, but the character that had the power of heart.
my
Um,
God. Okay.
it was like earth, fire, wind, water, and heart. Those were like their
Hmm.
powers. And I always thought that the heart guy was super cool. And it really resonates with me because that's why I'm doing this. I've got 3 kiddos and a bonus kiddo. Um, and they're 15 and 12 and 3 that still live with us, and the 23-year-old doesn't. And I just got tired of watching all of this stuff happen, making the world a worse place. And I thought, okay, surely someone's going to step up and do something. And then I was like, I guess it's me.
That is awesome. Man, God, I haven't heard of Captain Planet in years.
Good show, though.
Man, I have to dust that off. I have to go back and watch it. And because that is so nostalgia, like Captain Planet, um, even Spartacus had a cartoon, but it was not as popular as oh God, what's the other one? It comes out late night.
Oh,
Space, the one with the oh my God, Motar,
I'm trying to remember.
oh God, I can't remember right now, but but I think you know what I'm talking about. Let me
Yes.
see.
so many good cartoons.
It was so many good cartoons back in the day. But anyway, to hear that you like Captain Planet, yeah. You're my girl. Even I'm too bad I can't vote for you. Space, yeah, no, not Space Jam. It was Space. Oh my god, I can't think of it. But when I go down with but I mean, do you remember that cartoon, the space one with Motar? They were like weird alien characters, and they were interviewing real people back in the day. I can't think of it right now.
No, ma'am.
Okay, well,
my cartoon days are long gone. Is it Space Jam? No, not Space Jam.
No, it's not Space Jam. I can't think of it. But Miss
They
Tarah
was interviewing people. I don't know.
Yeah, they were interviewing. Yeah. God dang it, I gotta look for it. But Space Ghost. Yes. Space Ghost. Yes. So who is A LeBlanc? So
That's my husband.
I love him too. Yes. Space Ghost. Yes. Yes. That was the joint. That was a joint. But
Well, I'm glad y'all had some reminiscing going on. Sorry for my tardiness, Tara. Tara. I heard Tara. Yes. Was getting the quaff done. So, but I'm here. I was so excited. I had done done my research about you. So I was like, I can't miss this. I need to do it. She seems like a great candidate. So thank you so much for killing time from unaliving time. I can't say that word. Unaliving time for me, Miss Bianca. I appreciate you so much.
You are so welcome. You're so welcome. I got to meet her
first. Come back up. We're gonna have that problem with while I'm talking, we can't hear her. Tag it.
Okay. All right. You can drop me down if you
But yeah, come back up if you got a question. I know you always do.
Okay. Let me tell my business.
Right. Again, thank you all. Thank you everyone for being here. I am Melanie, aka Buttermel, and I will be speaking with Miss Tarah today. Miss Tarah LeBlanc, which is a French Louisiana name, but she hailing out of Kentucky at this point. Let me tell y'all a little bit about what I've learned about Miss Tarah. Miss Tarah.
No, you're good. It's Tarah.
It's Tarah. Okay, I thought I said Tarah. She is a lifelong Kentuckian, a wife of a veteran, a lucky mom to Tessa, Eliza, and Merritt, and a bonus mom to Knox. She grew up in Woodford County, and as a first-generation college student, she attended Central College on scholarships and Pell Grants, earning a degree in psychology. After graduating, she completed a master's in counseling psychology at the University of Kentucky. She started her working career in social work, then moved into energy consulting in 2008, the industry she is still in today. She's a soccer mom, a cheer mom, a PTO board member, and part of a grassroots leadership team working to defend democracy. Girl, you sound busy.
I am busy. And a couple people in the comments said that they can't hear me. So I'm holding my phone now instead of putting it on the stand. So I hope that that's a little better for folks.
That's definitely better.
Okay. Sorry about that. I tried to join from my laptop originally. So hopefully I just won't be shaky.
I know. They got to fix that.
Okay. I am busy, but I love it. I feel like I have rampant ADHD that I did not find out until later in life because that's the way it happens with women, right? And so I'm best when I'm busy and I keep going. But I love it. The kids are amazing. My husband and I got married. We got remarried. This is both of our second marriages. And we got remarried in 2021. He had a 23-year-old and I had, he was 20 at the time. And my kids were older, 9 and 11, and we decided to have another one. So we're in all the stages of all the kids. And last year we joined this group because we got tired of doom scrolling in our community and started trying to make a difference, and quickly got drawn into the leadership team and just started doing activism and working for the community, and really fell in love with it. Like, it was just amazing.
Awesome. So you are running for a state seat.
Yes, state
Yes.
representative.
Okay. Out of the District 33, the current incumbent in that seat is Jason Neens, who is a Republican. So
Yes.
is this historically, or is it traditionally a red district?
This has been a red district for a long time, and in fact, a woman has never held this seat.
Oh, we got double work to do. Let's go.
I know.
All right. Let's see. You have Crestwood, Pewee Valley, Anchorage, and Middletown, Jefferson County, parts of Louisville. Your district has a population of about 43,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
We're little on the Caucasian side, about 81%.
Yep.
We're gonna get some more diversity up in there.
100%.
There's about 39. Okay, so as I said, the population of District 33 is about 43,000 people.
Yep.
39,000, almost 40,000 of those people are registered voters. That is a lot of people registered to vote in one district.
It is a very well-to-do district that has a higher socioeconomic, mix than a lot of, not the rest of Kentucky specifically.
Mm-hmm. I make $105,000 a year.
Yep.
Median.
Yes. So
in Kentucky.
Yes. That Anchorage part that you mentioned is one of the, that's where Papa John lives, if that tells you anything.
Oh, that does.
Yes. And I have very good friends that live there too. Don't get me wrong. But it was redistricted in 2022. The current incumbent, Jason Nemaz, was the head of the redistricting committee. And these lines were pretty specifically drawn.
Sound like some more gerrymandering going on.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, let me tell you how this goes. So we have about 5 topics that I'm going to go try to get through. I'm going to ask about 2 to 3 questions each topic, depending on how long your answers are. In between that, we're going to do what we call a rapid fire, and it's just some quick answer questions. Then so those typically the first set is political, the second set is little fun, with little Kentucky extra on it. So we are I want to just remind the audience, make sure you're tapping the screen, you're sharing this out, and if you have any questions for Tarah, please request that. And did I say it right again?
It's all right. I'm used to it.
It's Tarah.
It's Tarah, but you're fine.
Okay.
I'll answer to both.
I have a friend named Tarah too, and when she corrected us that it wasn't Tara, it was Tarah, we went, that makes sense, because that is definitely what you are. You are a Tarah. So I'm just going to keep that in my head right there. So again, if you have any questions, you can request up or put them in the chat. Like Miss Bianca said, how do you feel about Thomas Massie?
Go ahead and answer that one right now.
Yes.
Okay. I think even a broken clock is right twice a day. And I don't like everything. I don't like most things that Thomas Massie has done. He's a libertarian. He's a no guy. I will give him respect for what he has done with the Epstein files, along with Ro Khanna and some of the other members of Congress, and how he's been pushing hard to make sure that the survivors get the justice that they deserve and that the truth comes out in the way that it should. But at the end of the day, he still continues to talk about how he is in line with President Trump most of the time. And I don't like him as a congressperson in general. I think he's benefited from the circumstances, and I think he's a smart politician. There probably isn't anything better that he could have done for himself than jump on that Epstein files, advocacy, which again, I won't say that it's all political. Maybe he has a good heart, but I am not a fan.
Okay. So I might agree with you. He has been the Republican speaking out the most during this administration, or one of them that's been speaking out the most. But you still on that side, so
Right. And he's voting no because he doesn't want the government to do, I mean, as a libertarian. So I can't agree with him because I think the government should be doing more for people. And we're not on the same page there. So
absolutely, 100% agree. So our first topic we're going to go into is economics. Okay. Housing affordability is a growing issue in Louisville, particularly for working class families. A recent analysis found out someone needs about $60,738 in annual income to afford a home in Louisville. Do you support state funding or tax incentives for workforce housing developments? And should the state place conditions on developers receiving tax incentives to ensure housing remains affordable?
yes, yes, and yes. I absolutely believe that I think there's a lot of factors that go into housing costs, and there's actually some really good bills in the Kentucky State Legislature right now to try and support that. But I absolutely think that when it comes down to it, there is a huge problem of affordability for housing in Kentucky, and I think the developers should play their parts and they're making hand over fist, so they definitely should keep it affordable for families, especially, in areas of the city where they have less access to affordable housing. So I'm on that board 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going to give you some tax incentives, then at least make sure people can afford where they live.
Yep.
Kentucky produces about 95% of the world's bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
And Louisville is a major hub for distilleries, tourism, and distribution. Major companies include Brown-Forman and Old Foster. The bourbon industry generates billions for Kentucky. How should the state ensure local communities benefit from that economic growth? Should more bourbon tax revenue be invested in infrastructure, schools, or community development?
Well, that's a two-parter for me. I think they should stop supporting Trump all the time because the bourbon industry has had a recent hurt. With countries that won't, they've stopped selling it. I know that there have been some distilleries that have had to stop production because they've got too much in stock right now. So I would love that. I know I don't know all the statistics, but I saw it about a month ago that they were talking about that. But I would not be, I would 100% support if there are additional, I know where I live, actually, there's an extra alcohol tax that was placed when, I don't know, where do you live? Which state?
I live in the Maryland, but the DC area.
Okay. So fun fact, in Kentucky, there are still dry counties. I don't know if that exists everywhere else, but there's 120 counties in Kentucky, and some of them are still dry. And Oldham County, where I live, was still dry until I think 2016. I didn't live here then. I lived in Jefferson. But there were a lot of people that were opposed to this county becoming wet. And there is a 4% alcohol tax that is added on, and that alcohol tax goes, as far as I know, I haven't checked in the last year, but the last time I checked, I got behind a police car and it said on a little sticker, "This vehicle paid for by the alcohol tax." I was like, can we maybe put that towards education or something else? But yes, all of that to say, I don't have issues with that because I think that if an industry is doing very well and making all that money, then contributing back to the communities is something that they should do ethically.
Absolutely. Dry means like they don't sell alcohol on Sundays or
No,
after
they don't sell it at all.
at all.
Yes. So
Oh
at all.
no.
And on Sundays, you can't buy it, I think, before 1 o'clock. I see my friend Melanie on there telling me it's considered moist, but I don't know that we're on the same term because moist county actually was a thing where I went to college. About halfway through college, it became a moist county, which means you could only buy alcohol at a restaurant that got more than, I think, 60% of its revenue from food. Or maybe it was 70, but you couldn't buy it by like the bottle, but you could buy it by the drink. In Oldham County, you can buy it by the bottle, but there's that 4% tax.
Oh wow. So y'all don't have ABC stores or?
No, it's not like that here. So you can't buy it at the grocery store or at the gas station. There are specific liquor stores. And someone else I know that wasn't from here, we have a lot of places that are drive-through liquor stores.
Yeah,
Pull
I
up.
went to one in Georgia, but here in Maryland, DC area, we have liquor stores too. But I've lived in Louisiana and North Carolina who have ABC stores. So I mean, I've done both. And living in Louisiana, New Orleans is like a flood city, right? Like
Don't drive.
it's not just wet; it's a flood there. You could drink all day, all night. So I've
Yeah.
experienced them both.
I don't understand the concept of an ABC store. Like, I don't get it.
Well, they're run by the state.
Oh,
They're
okay.
run
So
by
the
the state.
alcohol
So
beverage.
all the revenue for alcohol goes to the state, which they are then
Okay.
supposed to distribute. But when you have the liquor stores, then that is like private industry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. I never knew that.
Yep. The state get all the alcohol money, and I from what you was just saying, I think that the bourbon industry there should work almost like the lottery system in a lot of other places where a portion or a big part of that money goes to the educational infrastructure of the county or the state or whatever. It should. You
I
should
mean,
introduce that.
I could see that. I know when they started, there's a Kentucky Educational Scholarship Program that started back when I was in high school, and they funded that with the lottery. So
Yeah.
I would be on board.
Yep. All right. Now, you say Kentucky should invest more in small businesses instead of large corporations. Many small businesses struggle to with access to capital, and Kentucky often offers large incentive package to attract corporations. Would you support state-backed loan programs or grants for local entrepreneurs?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would throw on top of that I wish that we had at least an expanded Medicaid, if not universal health care for all, because taking that uh, burden off of small business owners would allow them to have more, less overhead. And I think that would be great for small businesses too.
Absolutely. Okay. So again, if you have any questions for Tarah, please request that or put them in the chat. We are going to move over to education, which Miss Tarah has a lot of. She done got all kinds of degrees going on, and she got 3 children that's in the educational system. So this is important to her, I'm sure.
Yes, it is.
You said Kentucky has not adequately funded public schools since 2008.
No.
What specific funding levels or reforms would you improve to fully fund Kentucky schools?
Well, for starters, the law is that they fully fund transportation, and they don't do that, and they have not done that. And I asked, who did I ask the other day? Because I haven't always been a state local politics junkie. This has only been the last few years that I've really locked in this much. But I was like, how can they get away with that? And my friend who I was talking to has been a longtime educator. She said, who's going to make them? And I was like, oh, right. I guess that's fair. So I'd start there, fully funding transportation. In fact, I was on a call last night for Protect Public Schools, which is an organization that's fighting a battle right now because Kentucky actually, it's a budget year for our state. And so they're going back and forth on the budget, and the House published passed their version of the budget. The Senate passed their version of the budget yesterday, and that version gave less per student funding than the House budget did. So in Kentucky, it's called a SEEK formula. And they had them frozen at a level, and the House had raised it a little bit. So, and I wish I'd written down the numbers, but they were basically talking about last night that the 2028 levels of SEEK funding that they are proposing in this budget is 26% ish. Now I'm quoting. I'll get off and be like, it was 27, but it's like about 26% inflation adjusted short of where it should be. So I think that would be a start as well. And then the transportation issue is very bipartisan. There's a ton of support. And
now, what does that mean exactly? What does that entail that they pay for the transportation? Meaning like school buses or public buses, or like they will reimburse parents for gas if they bring their kids? What is that?
Just school buses, and they're not even funding school buses. And my favorite thing is in Jefferson County, which I lived in Jefferson County for years before I moved here. We've only been in this county for 4 years. And a lot of the Republicans, they criticize the heck out of Jefferson County schools. And it's a big metro area, and busing is a big part of it, but they haven't fully funded them in years. I think it's maybe 73 or 74% of what, the total. So
where does the funding come from to get kids to school?
Districts have to come up with it on their own when the lawmakers don't put it into the budget, which is really disheartening. I hate that. The other thing that they didn't do is, well, there's two other things. Number one, the governor's been pushing for universal pre-K for the last 2 budget cycles. That's not in there. They keep ignoring it. It's another issue that it's bipartisan. It supports working families. It supports better development for children going into kindergarten. It helps daycare and preschools hire and retain talent. We could do it in our budget, but they don't prioritize that. They are prioritizing being able to lower income tax instead.
Remind me who your governor is?
Andy Beshear.
I thought it was Beshear. Okay. No, I was thinking, who's the other one? But yes, Beshear is who I'm thinking too. But now,
everybody just calls him Andy.
Yes, Andy Beshear. He's a good one. If Kentucky voters want strong public schools, what do you think lawmakers in Frankfort have to continue to reduce education funding? Wait. What do you think lawmakers in Frankfort have continued to, or why? That's why I'm reading that wrong. Why do you think lawmakers in Frankfort have continued to reduce education funding?
Well, it's not so much that they've reduced it. They just won't increase it to go with inflation or increase the levels of funding. And I think it's honestly because they feel like they don't have to, which, they have a supermajority. So there's 100 seats in the Kentucky legislature. Republicans control 80 of them right now. And in the Senate, there are 40-ish seats. The Republicans have 32. So they can basically do whatever they want. And what they have been wanting to do is focus on giant culture war issues and support big business and reduce the income tax. And so the way that the income tax, am I talking too long? I can stop if this is, okay.
I'm listening.
Okay. The way that I just get into it. So there is a certain tax, or there's a rainy day fund in Kentucky, and it has to be at a certain level to set up these triggers that reduce the income tax. So it used to be that all Kentuckians were taxed at 6%. And then they changed that to a graduated tax system. And now they've just been reducing it. Wait, I said that backwards. Sorry, let me correct myself. There was a graduated tax system based on income. I think it was from like 2 to 5%, and then or 2 to 6, and then they changed it to a flat 5%. And now they've been focused on reducing income tax overall, which disproportionately benefits people at the top, right? Your average person might get, you might get a little bit of money, but like I think I did the calculation for my salary, and it's like less than $1,000.
Oh, wow.
Whereas someone who makes a lot of money gets a lot back. And it sounds popular because they're like, oh, we're trying to reduce your income taxes, but they're doing that because they don't spend all the money that we have so that they could put it away in this rainy day fund and not invest in services that benefit everyone.
Wow.
I know.
Now, you said that they don't think they have to, but Louisville schools are facing achievement gaps tied to income and race.
Yep.
Students in low-income communities often face additional barriers and unequal access to resources and support services. These gaps can affect graduation rates and long-term career opportunities. So, when you get there, how will you present? What policies will you present that will improve and close this gap?
So interestingly that you said that when I talked about Jefferson County Public Schools, that's Louisville, and they like to use that argument to push the narrative that it should be broken up into smaller districts, which is problematic because when it's broken up into smaller districts, of course you have areas of the city that have different wealth distribution, and it's less money for children who need it the most and schools that need it the most. And so that is one of the things that drives me insane is how the entire state, and especially some of the local people, continue to harp on the gaps in achievement that JCPS has. And I mean, in reality, a lot of it is if they would fund them adequately, they could fix that. So to your question of what I would do in Frankfort, there are a lot of people that are posing a lot of good bills, including raising the SEEK formula so schools have more money, giving teachers raises that they deserve, bus transportation being fully funded. JCPS has a huge geographic area and buses run all over the city because, students can go to different schools that aren't just right down the street from them. So there's a lot of stuff that's already great out there. But what I think that I would like to do is try and get more colleagues, right? Because when you have 20 people, you can't make that much change or make them listen to you. A lot of the lawmakers basically have to find a Republican to get on board with them to get a bill heard or passed. So building relationships, trying to give back. There are 45 seats in Kentucky for the House of Representatives that don't even have a Democratic candidate. And the Kentucky Democrat, I know, right? I know. And the Kentucky Democratic Party is trying, and I know they are trying, but that actually has been I obviously hope very hard to get elected and make a lot of changes. But in the event that I don't get elected this cycle, one of my goals is to try and figure out how to plug into different places in the state to try and elevate candidates in other counties and other regions so that we don't have so many unopposed seats and we can get more colleagues, and then they have to listen because it's only been a supermajority since 2016. Before that, the Democrats still controlled the House.
I mean, and y'all have a Democratic governor, so apparently they will vote Democrat. Just put your name on the ballot.
Yeah. It's just getting your name out there. And unfortunately, I think the Democratic Party has gotten a bad rap in a lot of ways and has gotten themselves into some issues that it's hard to overcome, especially when you're dealing with people who, I don't know how to say this without sounding the wrong way, so maybe I should just keep my mouth shut. But especially when, in terms of education, Kentucky is like the 5th in the country from the bottom. So it's hard to, get people to kind of see in some ways how you're voting against your own interests. But part of the reason that I want to do this, Kentuckians are good people. They are people who will help their neighbors, salt of the earth. When you think about my family has roots in Eastern Kentucky, that is one of the poorest places in the state. Those people are great people, and we deserve better than what we're getting.
Absolutely. I hear you. Haven't been to Kentucky. I've been to a lot of places. I have not been to Kentucky.
You should come, especially, I'm telling you, if you come up around Louisville, around Derby, it is so fun.
Yeah. Okay. It's on my list. It's on my list.
Stay in my guest room.
All right. So we're going to go into our first rapid fire.
Okay.
Okay. My first question, the economy or social injustice? Which do we need to fix first?
Social injustice, because that's the root of all of our economic problems.
Great answer. Does Kentucky have term limits?
There's a gubernatorial term limit. I don't know that there are term limits on the state offices. Yeah,
Should there be?
I do think that there should be. Now, I will say that there is a very charismatic and amazing lawmaker who served for like 30 years in the Kentucky state legislature, and he's awesome. But even that withstanding, I do think that sometimes you need some change.
Yeah, absolutely. As time changes, you need to,
Oh,
not
there's my
saying
friend
that.
Dakota on there. He's saying there is not. So he's got me there. Thank you, Dakota.
Yes. Um, Control over education. Should that be state or federal issue? Like, who should control the education?
Which, like the funding or the curriculum or anything?
All of it.
I generally think that the state is okay controlling it because you've got more of a gauge on what your schools need in terms of funding. Right now, I'm not sure if there's any difference, but for those of y'all in blue states, I feel like it's good that your state government is controlling your education. Now, in terms of some of the federal dollars that we aren't receiving anymore, that I guess it's a combination now. Keep it at the state. I guess that it feels like a toughie, that one.
I have my opinion about it. I think it should be definitely federal controlled. Like
Okay.
the Department of Education actually works to streamline schools all across the country. But there would still be a state overseeing of what the federal pushes, put label, like how they structure it. And it's like, okay, yeah, so this is what every school in the United States should have. And then somebody at the state level says, okay, this district, this district all have met that standard. That district is still trying to catch up. So we're going to have the school board focus on that district in order to, so those things can still stay in place, but they just will behave in a different manner.
I like that. I like that. Of course, it makes me nervous when you have someone like Betsy DeVos. But if we have sensible people, then yeah, I think that's great.
That part. That's where we're messing up at this moment. Right. We like, no, don't put it in their hands.
Yes, right.
Okay. So a bill was brought to the floor. $10 million will be given to each district for their educational infrastructure. But also in the bill is the 10 commandments must go up in the schools.
Nope.
Displayed. Are you voting yay or nay?
Nope. I am a firm believer in the separation of church and state. In fact, that is one of the things that got me so active in my community. There is an organization called LifeWise that I don't know if everyone has heard of, but they are a white Christian nationalist organization that are coming in and trying to pull kids out of school during the school day because that's when they have access to them. And I am a hard no. I do not believe on infringing on any students, any teachers' rights by putting any kind of religion on them in the public schools.
But your district is now going to miss out on $10 million for their education.
Well, we can find it another way, maybe an alcohol tax.
Good answer. Good answer. All right. What is the biggest issue facing your community right now?
Ooh. Gosh, I would say healthcare affordability is hitting everybody hard. I mean, that is affordability in general. But, in Kentucky, because of the big ugly bill, we have, I think more than any other state, there are 35 rural hospitals that could be at risk of closure. And there are already places in Kentucky that are care deserts, especially for OB care, gynecology. And when you think about so many people who are losing their access to that kind of healthcare, and I have to plug a little bit, I know it's not popular, and some people say nobody cares anymore, but I care a lot about the fact that there is a near total abortion ban in this state.
AB, you gotta say AB. They don't like that
Oh,
word.
sorry,
TikTok don't
AB.
like that word.
I'm sorry. There is a near total AB ban in this state. It's even in SA.
Mm-hmm.
And so that scares me a lot. And recently we've had people who have been arrested for taking certain kinds of medicine. And that scares me a whole lot, especially, so it just goes to healthcare accessibility. So healthcare, I think, is huge.
Okay. Do you think that all in-state college students should be free?
Yes.
Okay. One word you like to add to your state constitution?
Love. I think that, yes, that is lead with love. I just feel like if we came at things from a place of love, then things would be so much different.
Okay. Now, one word that describes your leadership style.
One word is hard, but I think compassionate.
Compassionate. That's a great word. That is a great word. I do want to remind everyone, if you do have any questions, you can hit the little multi-guest thing at the bottom there, request up, or just put them in the chat and I will pose those questions to Tarah. Now, she mentioned that the biggest issue facing her district right now is healthcare, which is my next topic. Many families struggle with high medical costs, even when insured, such as raising prescription prices. Can't say the DRUG word. High deductibles and copays, medical debt. Now, Kentucky's Medicaid expansion significantly increased coverage, but affordability remains a concern. What state policies could reduce healthcare expenses? And should Kentucky take stronger action to control the prescription prices?
So I definitely think that expanded Medicaid, Medicare would help a lot of Kentuckians. One of the things that scares me right now is there is a bill on the floor in the legislature right now where they are tightening the restrictions and they're making them even more restrictive than the federal level for Medicaid. My dad's cousin, he was in the ICU and now he's in rehab currently, and they had to basically reapply every 2 days. I think that putting that kind of burden on people when they're already having one of the hardest times of their life is horrible. I think that if we could expand programs so that more people could qualify, that would ease a lot of burden on a lot of people. And it makes me, I saw a statistic that talked about how many Kentuckians had to skip or downsize a meal or one or more meals so that they could afford. And that, gosh, we just are such a country with so much money, and the fact that we are operating from this place of scarcity when it's not scarcity, it's priorities, right? As far as prescription drugs, I have a lot to say about prescription. Oh, oops, I just said the word. As far as prescription medicine, I have a lot to say about pharmaceutical companies and the way that they have mistreated our communities, especially the eastern part of our community. It's just a travesty. I think that they got off entirely too lightly, and I wish that they would go back and sue them for so much more and put that money to use for helping with healthcare in Kentucky. I do think it's a big, sorry. I feel real strongly about it because I have a cousin who passed because of addiction. And it just makes me sick.
I mean, well, speaking of that, with the addictions, mental health has been gaining traction over the last decade. across the country. We're talking about it more. There's more avenues to speak to someone. I mean, you can download an app and talk to somebody. So we are trying to move forward with that as a society. However, Kentucky is still lacking a little on the mental health resources. What policies will you bring in the state capitol to help bring more resources for mental health
I
care?
think more money for mental health resources, especially in schools. And there are a lot of kids who need those services, and there are ways that they can get the services in schools that lift the burden off of the parents. But there are family resource centers that I'm not even sure they were funded appropriately in this last budget. So putting more money into family resource centers because those people do great work in terms of mental health resources, but not just that. I have a psychology background, and I firmly believe in Maslow's hierarchy. And if you don't come to school with enough food in your belly, or if you don't have warm clothes, or if you're worried about where you slept last night or where you're going to sleep tonight, then you can't learn, and that affects mental health so much. I mean, hunger itself affects mental health. And that's for children and adults. So I think that, and I guess it seems like a simplistic answer, but I think putting as much money as we can into services like expanded Medicaid and public schools, when we have those things in place, I mean, if people could afford to see a provider and insurance would pay for it, that's a trouble for a lot of people. They can find a provider, but they may not accept insurance. And there are a lot of providers that don't accept Medicaid, and that's not only on them, it's because of the regulations surrounding it. So I feel like there's a lot that could be done there to make it more accessible.
Now, you said it needs more money, but where do you expect this money to go? I mean, is it to build more centers? Is it to hire more staff? Is it to get more training? Like, where do you expect the money to go?
I think that if it could go into some sort of program where more providers were willing to accept Medicaid, that would be a big deal. I know when one of the jobs that I did early in my career, I was a case coordinator for a Medicaid program that worked with children that had emotional needs, and finding a provider that would accept Medicaid was often difficult. So I think that if there were, and I don't know on the back end, and I'm not going to try to speak to what exactly they have to go through on the back end, but it has to be a financial thing. If so many of them they just can't do it. I think that would help. I do think that, if every school had enough resources to have a specified mental health counselor, often they're shared between schools, but if they were funded so that every, school had their own, that would be great. I think that those two things would go a long way to help. And I don't want to speak much further than that for a risk of putting myself in an area in which I'm not an expert.
Right. Well, but okay. So my question too is, how do you see this money being distributed? Like, would you just increase the budget for the funding for the schools, or will you have people apply for grants so therefore you can see exactly what their plans are to do with said money?
I didn't think of that, but I think it could be a both and, right?
Okay.
So there are a lot of nonprofits that are working to try and, do all kinds of good things in our community. I'm sure there are ones that are specifically focused on that, and they need more funding. So more funding for the people that are out there who have the great ideas and the plans to do them, but not the funding. And then in the schools specifically, that increasing their funding to what they should be, giving them that 26% at least back. And, as much funding as the schools could get, I feel I just have a lot of my kids go to public schools. I'm a product of public schools. I just think education is the backbone of all things in our society, because if kids have a good education, it prepares them for their future. And on top of that, Education is the enemy of authoritarianism, right? So, an educated population is one that can fight back against, what we're seeing.
Right. And that's what just scares me is that we can pour all the money we want or designate money to the schools. If there's not someone there holding them accountable, saying, hey, you were giving X amount of dollars at the beginning of the school year 2 years ago to increase your mental health resources here, that you said you were going to hire 5 more for the district, 5 more counselors, psychologists for the district, and yet we haven't seen you hire anybody. So where did that money go? We got to be asking those questions.
Sure. I think oversight is important. And if we're giving you money specifically allocated towards mental health resources, then we should be able to, you show us which 5 people you hired, and, the fact that they have a training, to be able to do it, school counselor or school psychologist or whatever it is.
Absolutely. I'll just remind everyone, if you have any questions, Sianka had some question about the 3rd grader designed those professional signs for Kentucky. I don't know what signs she's talking about.
Are you talking about this one in the back? These are the things that my kids made me.
No, I think she's talking about the street signs or something. I don't know. Sianka, what signs are you talking about, ma'am? So she's going to tell us. Okay. But we're going to touch on veterans and military real quick. Being a veteran, military spouse. What branch?
So my husband was in the Air Force, and then my ex-husband was actually in the Army.
Oh, you double dipped. Okay. We're going to be protected around here. Okay. All right. Now, many veterans say the transition from military service to civilian life is the hardest part of their journey. What concrete policies would you champion to make the transition easier for Kentucky veterans? And you mentioned being the spouse of the veteran, as I said. How has that experience shaped your understanding of the challenges veterans face after leaving military service?
I think that a lot of people don't know about all of what the VA does. And one of the things that made me the very first things when federal employees started getting, cut last year was the amount of staff that they were talking about who were laid off at veterans administrations. And that it broke my heart, because there are so many people who, especially if they were in combat, so many people suffer from PTSD. And that is something that they absolutely need help with. Coming back, and it's not even just that. I've heard from, different people that you're in a place where you've got a whole group of people around you who are seeing the same things and experiencing the same things. And then you come back and nobody else around you knows what you went through. And maybe they ask you awkward questions. It seems like it can be pretty isolating for a lot of people. And I think it is pretty isolating for a lot of people when you look at the unaliving rates of folk. And thank you. And that makes me, it breaks my heart. I think that, I would like to see if there were more ways that we could connect veterans to work programs, that, ways to kind of get them to, touch base into their community and supports in that way. There's so many homeless veterans. And I think that, if there were more housing, I don't know exactly what kind of housing it would be, but some kind of housing that could be subsidized for veterans. I think that when people are willing to sacrifice their entire lives for us and for our freedom, that we should take care of them when they come back. Did I answer your whole question? I feel like I left a piece out.
No, you actually answered the next question I had.
at me.
Right. I mean, my next question was about PTSD, and the question after that was about job training and placement for veterans. I'm not kidding you. So no, you answer all the questions. But
Great.
it's super important that we have to do a better job at taking care of our veterans, especially the ones who have seen combat, especially those.
Yes.
Even though the ones who haven't are just as important, right?
Oh, sure.
Because they were willing to put their lives on the line.
Absolutely.
But I mean, at the very minimum, the ones who have seen combat should never be without a house, should never be without food, should never be without health care, ever.
Yeah, I would love to see everyone who is a veteran like a Medicaid kind of program. I don't know exactly what it'd be. And I know a lot of the, care through the VA, but I mean, not everybody can get to a VA, right? Like it's not local everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I've been hearing, that we definitely have to figure out how to do get some more VA, hospitals in places. I often tell the story of how I was living in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, but the closest VA hospital was New Orleans, which is about 80 miles.
Not close.
No,
No,
not at all.
I'm trying to think in Kentucky. I know there is one in Louisville. They're actually building a new one right now. And then there's one in Lexington, but I don't know where other VAs. I mean, surely there has to be at least one more, but yeah, I mean, and I've lived around Lexington or Louisville my entire adult life pretty much, but yeah, people can't be driving that far. I mean, if you're in Pikeville, just to drive to Lexington, that's a solid 3 hours.
Yeah, the Baton Rouge to New Orleans is about an hour and a half. Yeah, so that we have to figure that out. We have to do better. I even think that the hospital should be state of the art. We
Absolutely.
should. I mean, this is for our vet. Like, if we don't take care of nothing else, you got to take care of the people that's taking care of the country.
Yes, you do. Oh, you absolutely do. And I mean, they deserve all of our respect. And, I've heard too many stories about how people feel like they went over there and came back and then people forgot about them. And it breaks my heart.
That breaks my heart too. Like I said, if I see someone with a hat on, they would like to wear their hats sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I see someone with a hat on and you sitting out there with a cup too. Oh no, I lose it.
And sometimes they have a dog, and then it's like, oh, not too.
Okay, so Miss Tarah, we are going to do my second half of my rapid fire questions, and these, like I said, these are really fun. Okay.
Yes.
Are we glamping or camping?
Oh, glamping all the way. I hate camping. I did so much camping growing up, so much camping. My ex liked camping. My husband does not like camping. And I was like, thank God I never have to go camping again.
So RV, we in.
They're fine. They're fine.
All right. Gold or silver?
Gold.
You go, girl. Okay.
Rose gold is my favorite. I don't know if you can see very well, but this is all pink and rose gold.
Awesome. Bagels or toast?
I don't like either that much. I'm not a bread person. I know that's weird, but
English muffin?
How about a regular muffin? I am a sugar addict. A donut, English muffin, a Pop-Tart.
I'll take it. Would you rather visit outer space or the bottom of the sea?
Sounds like a crazy place to go. Both of those places that crazy. Why?
Nothing can happen to you. Okay.
The bottom of the sea then, because I feel like there'd be a lot of cool stuff to see, lots of fish, coral reefs, that kind of thing.
That's what I said. I think in outer space it's just a bunch of rocks.
I know. I watched that HBO show about the astronauts. It seems real weird and scary out there.
Now, are you a potted plant girl or a bouquet of flowers?
A bouquet of flowers. My grandmother was a florist growing up, actually, so I love flowers.
Awesome. Horror movie or comedy?
Comedy. I jump scare and I have bad dreams.
Love to laugh. All right. So, are we going with Kentucky bourbon balls or Johnny cakes?
Kentucky bourbon balls.
Okay, y'all. Those are sweets.
They are. I like Johnny cakes too, but I like a bourbon ball.
On a nice cold night, are you going with a hot brown or a burgoo?
Oof, a burgoo, because I mean I like a hot brown, but if it's really cold, I want something. I want a stew.
Okay, so that's the stews, y'all. Are we doing fried chicken or fried catfish?
Catfish.
Oh,
Yep.
what is your favorite thing to eat with beer cheese?
Pretzels, like especially the pretzel chips. Like what I'm talking about, the flat
The
ones.
the thin flat ones. Oh, I ain't thought about
Yes,
those.
that is a level up. It's so good.
You got something on my mind. Uh, your favorite thing to barbecue? I mean, this is Kentucky, so we got to do some barbecuing too here.
Yeah, actually my husband makes this really amazing marinated chicken that it's like a beer and some other stuff, and then he uses barbecue sauce, and it is so good and just tender.
So some barbecue chicken.
Chicken
So we
thigh.
barbecuing the chicken and frying the fish. Yeah.
Just chicken thighs. Yeah. It's like I love a chicken thigh.
Awesome. Now, you're going to the state capitol, but there's a lot going on in our federal capital right now, right? We're going to touch a little bit on that, like the shutdown. Have you ever seen a shutdown in Kentucky history of the state capitol that you can remember or know of?
I don't
No?
remember that happening, and somebody probably jump in the comments and prove me wrong, but I don't remember it happening. Do you know one? And I forgot it.
Okay. Well, I don't.
I was like, gotcha.
But why do you think? That the federal capital are having such a hard time coming to, agreement on things to keep our government functioning?
Because at the end of the day, they're all so scared of the president that they can't follow common sense or what their constituents want, and they're just doing his agenda. If they would use common sense and go with what is good for actual people, I think we would be in a different ballpark. I mean, when you look at the big ugly bill, there was nothing in there that is good for 98% of Americans, but they're all so scared that they voted it through anyways. And that is a problem. They're not, they're the Constitution and the people. That's who they should be serving, not one man and his,
Exactly.
team.
Now, we also know that elections, or the big test, as we like to call it, because they don't like that word too much either. It's like,
okay.
listen, okay. The big test is a state thing. Mm-hmm. Somehow, though, they're making it a federal thing. They're trying to tell people how to run their test.
Yep.
How do you think that's going to affect Kentucky?
I hope that it won't. I know that the last I had heard, our Secretary of State, Michael Adams, had said no. I'm not handing over those records, and I think was being sued. I haven't seen if that's changed this week. So I'm hopeful. I think one of the things that's interesting about Kentucky, it's Rand Paul and Thomas Massey, elected officials here, that get a lot of noise. Kentuckians are contrary. They don't love being told what to do. And you can see that in two of our elected officials. Even though I don't really like either one of them, I like that they at least have a backbone at times. And I'm hoping that our Secretary of State will continue to do that. I worry about the thing that can melt that you put in your drink coming to the big test. I have heard that a lot of, chatter or whatever about those folk
Mm-hmm.
Woke is a nice word that they don't deserve, but them being around polling places, I hope that that doesn't happen. I hope that people keep their backbone and say, this is our test that we are running. We do not need an adjunct to step in and do it for us. I think that they know that their regime is horrible and people are unhappy and they're trying to cheat. And it makes me mad.
I know.
I don't even cheat at cards. I never cheated at board games growing up. I stopped playing with my kids. That was one of the first things when, little kids start to cheat. I'm like, nope, if you cheat, I don't play. So,
Now, you were talking about the frozen people, right? And this whole thing about immigration, how has that affected Kentucky? We know some, states like Minnesota have been truly affected by this. How has the whole immigration issue affected Kentucky?
yeah, so that was actually one of our group the nonpartisan group that we've been a part of. The actual very first action that we took as a group is the county that I live in, Oldham County, the jail or the detention center has a 287G agreement with the Melty people. And when we started talking about that and we held a town hall, we asked the jailer to come. It got a decent amount of press. The executive director at the time got a lot of heat because, the county is making money. That's what drives one of the things that is so upsetting is that I probably can't say this either, but it's kind of a form of like the jams that cars get stuck in, like it's like human that.
Yes.
Getting my drift.
Yes.
Because they're getting paid this per diem rate through the Melty people that is so much higher, and I think that's disgusting.
What?
Yeah, like the per diem rate in the state of Kentucky, I think it's something like $85 or $90 from the Melty people, and then if they're just housing other inmates from other parts of the state, then it's more like $56, something like that.
In the detention centers.
In the detention center. So we started talking about that a lot. Actually, we've still been talking about it. It's, almost a year later, and we've still, someone in our group just published an article about, went to the fiscal court and talked about it, and talked about how, we shouldn't be, it's blood money, basically. Yeah. So that we've seen people, there's been an uptick in, presence. I know that I am a gas station person. I don't drink coffee. I drink fountain drinks. So in the morning, last week, I went to the gas station by my house, and the manager and we talk because I'm in there all the time. She was like, girl, you know what you just missed? And I said, what? And she was like, there were like 10 of them in the parking lot. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, they had all the stuff. And I was like, which way do they go? Like trying to figure out how I'm telling my husband, I'm like, we got to drive that way and see what's going on so that we can witness, I hate it. I hate it. And that's, it's awful.
Well, the last federal thing I want to talk about is this conflict that's happening over across the pond.
Right.
Well, the ocean, because the pond is the other people, but across the ocean, across the east, that's in the middle. How do you see this affecting our country going forward? Can we turn back now? Are we in this too deep already? What is your feelings about this conflict?
I think it's awful. I think there is no reason that we should be doing this. I think the irony of saying that, this government is treating their citizens so badly. Look at what they're doing. We have to step in is freaking wild. And there's just, it's wild. And then when you think about what they've done in terms of the school for girls, and the family of not just the person in charge, but the descendants of the person in charge who is now the other person in charge. You think they're just going to forget that? I think we should totally find a way to stop our involvement in it. But I do think that what has happened is a decision that's going to reverberate for a long time, because so many folks are just going to be, shaped by this moment in their lives and what our country did. That, I mean, good Lord willing, nothing terrible happens here, but that's just how that's how attacks like 9/11 happen, when things like that happen to people. And I hate it. I think we should get out of it as soon as we can and figure out some diplomatic way to fix it. But I don't know that there are very many people who have the diplomacy and the environment like to do it right now. So pickle, and it's awful.
It's awful. Now I didn't get to look this up, but I was wondering if you knew the percentage of people who voted for Trump in your district. Do you know?
In my district, that's a good question. I know the last time the Republican Democrat split in my district was about 55-45. So I would assume kind of along those lines, 55-45.
Okay. So this leads to my closing questions, because a lot of them, you have many that are still sticking with him, regardless of all of this that I just named that's happening, but you have even more that are turning away. So with that being said, how will you convince these Trump supporters, these Trump voters, let me say that, that you would be the true answer to their problems? Because that's really what they say why they voted for him, because he had the answer to all their problems. And now they're saying that's not true. So how can you prove that to them, or convince them, or whatever, that they need you in the Capitol?
Oh, I think I've got two answers for that. And the answer that I think that, well, people who are hardcore MAGA are not going to, they just are hardcore, right? But that's not the biggest part of Republican voters. I think there are a lot of people that didn't want to vote for the Democratic candidate last time, not because she wasn't qualified, but because of racism or sexism. I mean, at the end of the day, and I have argued with a lot of people about that. They don't believe me. They try to say it's one thing or the other, and I don't think that's right. People don't want to admit it, but I think that's what it is. And there are some people who were saying, well, I don't want my groceries to be so high. Well, look at your freaking groceries now, So people who are hardcore MAGA, they're never going to like me, but I don't think that represents the biggest part of the Republicans. And I think that I'm a working mom. I'm not a career politician. I am doing this to make our community better and to make the lives of Kentuckians better. I mean, there is nothing, I'm not even sure if I get to keep my job if I get elected, and it would be a pay cut. So I'm not doing this for power or anything like that. I just want to make this state better for my kids and for all of our kids. And I think that that's a message that people can resonate with. I hope so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, looking ahead 5-10 years, what is your long-term vision for your district, and how do you hope residents will be able to look back on your service and say their lives and communities were improved because you represented them?
Can I change that to my state? Because I think the thing that's different about, my district is better off than a lot of places in my state. And what I hope is that I want to impact the entire state, and I want, education to be improved. I want rural hospitals to be strengthened. I want there to be a more fair system of housing for folks across the country. I would love to see young folk be able to stay in their Eastern Kentucky communities because, economy has been revitalized there. I just think that, I would love it if we could have a more accessible healthcare so people wouldn't move out of this state because they are afraid for their lives as women. And that I get it. That's a big ask. That's a big ask. But at the end of the day, one of the things that I have said a lot is I think all Kentuckians deserve to thrive and not just survive. And I think if we can focus on making everyday people feel a little more stable and like they don't have to work so hard just to get by, that would make me feel good.
Absolutely. I mean, that's really all what we all want, everywhere. And I don't know why they're so hard to get. So anytime anyone comes at me with, the plan of how to make the country rich, to make the state rich, means that you have no, you really not looking out for me,
Right.
because I can't do nothing with the state. Now, if you are going to make the state, and I tell people this all the time, I said, this country, this state is not land, it's people. So you have to work on the people, for the people, with the people, not the land.
Yes.
The land don't do nothing.
Yes. I love that. I mean, yes, how we treat the least of people and is the measure of our society, I think.
Well, absolutely. Now, this has been such a pleasure.
Yes. I enjoyed this.
I can't wait to come to Kentucky. If it's more good people like you there, I'm ready.
It's a great place. We would love to have you up here.
All right.
Thank you so
Now, one last thing. If there's one message you would like to leave with the voters today, of Kentucky, of District 33, what would you like to tell them to look forward to do? What's their response? What message would you like to leave with them today?
I would like them to think about the last 10 years, basically, that they've had the same representative and the same government, and how their lives have changed, and if it's any better for them or for their neighbors. And if our communities aren't doing better, then I encourage them to really look at what's going on, because everything that's going on, they've had 10 years of a supermajority. You can do anything with a supermajority, but they haven't done a lot to help people. So I'd like, look it up, check it out, think about it, and don't just vote on party lines. Vote for somebody that you think can do something. And also, I just want to say out there, I mean, women in general get stuff done. And I think that moms, we're used to multitasking and going with the chaos and getting stuff done anyways. So, yeah, pick someone different who will help more people.
Absolutely. Now, just also remind everyone how they can support you, where they can find you, all your medias.
Yes.
Let everyone know.
Yes. So the running joke on my team has been, my campaign is tarahforky. It's Tarah, TarahForky. But then somebody glommed on at the beginning that they're like, oh, Forky, like from Toy Story. So I've been tarahforky the whole time. So tarah4ky.com. It's the same on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok.
All right. And do you have donation information on there?
I do. I would love it if people would want to support me, and I would consider it an honor. Thank you for having me on here so I could talk to you. It's been so much fun.
Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree. Look, y'all hear that? Can y'all hear those sirens? This is the super safe DC that Trump told you we got. And I just been hearing sirens. I'm like, Trump, that's not true.
I hope it doesn't do that all night.
I hope not either.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to thank you. I want to thank everyone else for coming here, staying. Somebody clear out that goal up there. We are almost done with at least one of them. Clear out one of them for me. Again, I thank everyone for joining us tonight. Miss Tarah LeBlanc is running for a state representative seat in Kentucky's 33rd district. Yes. So if you know someone in Kentucky, in the Louisville and Anchorage, and I got to see what the other one is.
Linden, Middletown, Shelby County, Teeny Piece, and Oldham County, of course.
Little Jefferson County. Yes. Tell them this is your girl. Okay. I want to invite you and everyone else to our next town hall, which is happening tomorrow. We have 2 of them happening. The first one will be with this guy here, Jonathan Bradner, who is running for Ohio's U.S. House District 29. That might not be Ohio. That might be a state seat. I have to double check that because Ohio don't have that many districts to my knowledge. not federal districts. So that might be an Ohio House seat. But it's coming Friday at 7:00, March 20th. And then we have this young lady, Diane, who is running for U.S. Senate in Tennessee. So that's your neighbor, right? Tennessee is
It is.
a
Neighbor to the south.
Okay.
Yep. Ohio's our neighbor to the north. So we're like right in the middle.
Right in the middle. So she is running for U.S. Senate for Tennessee. And she will be coming on tomorrow night at 9:00. So we're going to look for Miss Diane and we're going to look for Jonathan Bradner tomorrow. I hope to see you all here. Also, we do a candidates roundtable every other Sunday. Okay, I would love to have you there. We get the candidates we've had on here at a roundtable talking about the upcoming issues. You may get some ideas about what you can do with your district, or you could give some ideas to people about what they could do for theirs. So I would love to invite you to that. So look for that in your emails. Our next one is on March 29th, and I will be hosting that myself. And anyone out there, if you want to be a part of this team, anyone, candidates, audience, whatever, creators, if you want to be a part of OVC, if you want to be a part of the solution, DM us. Come on through, do what I'm doing, moderating, and speaking with wonderful candidates like Tarah here. And like I said, you could be part of the solution, not part of the problem. So I appreciate everyone for coming tonight. Let me just remind you all of who we are. We are Our Vote Counts, OVC, a nonpartisan movement uniting Americans from all walks of life to empower voters, support candidates of integrity, and ensure that every voice is heard through education, outreach, accountability, and action. We are building a stronger democracy, one informed vote at a time. So make sure you continue to join us. Hi, Fat Man, because your vote is your power.